Welcome back for the video for lesson 6 of growth. So this lesson, we're going to be talking about service and witness. Really what we're trying to do is help our participants recognize their call to serve others and to share God's love, both in word and deed. And we start off the lesson, if you want to open to page 127 of your leader guide, I'm going to read the quote from the catechism that's in there, Catechism section 1816. So it reads the following. The disciple of Christ must not only keep the faith and live on it, but also profess it, confidently bear witness to it, and spread it. All, however, must be prepared to confess Christ before men and to follow him along the way of the cross amidst the persecutions which the church never lacks. Service of and witness to the faith are necessary for salvation. So everyone who acknowledges me before men, I also will acknowledge before my Father who is in heaven. But whoever denies me before men, I will also deny before my Father who is in heaven.
Whoa.
Maybe a bit of a heavy way to start.
Yeah, that is a heavy one.
But it says there, service and witness to the faith are necessary for salvation. So in having this conversation in this lesson about the importance of service and witness, we're framing it here as the church does, which is that it's actually part of what it means to be Christian and what it means to be able to follow the Lord and ultimately has a role in our salvation. In light of that, how does this conversation with service and witness kind of tie together everything that we've been talking about in growth?
Well, in the opening videos, you had mentioned that the reason CCO chooses growth to be third and what its design is to end in a call to mission, to invite them into full missionary discipleship. So we've been spending time growing all of the really important aspects around that scripture of Colossians, that they would be rooted in, strengthened, and just become fruitful in their relationship with Christ. And this is now in the 6th lesson, we're tipping the scale. We're putting the ball in their court, inviting them to respond to mission. So in our experience as leaders, you'll find that participants are ready and excited because they have been growing in all their areas of the relationship with Jesus, and this fuels mission, right? We've learned that, and we've been taught that it's a two-sided coin, and we're fueled to go out and to share. And it's exciting to see that there's a concrete opportunity that you get to present to them in order for them to do that through leading a discovery. But I do find, as a leader of this chapter of service and witness, it's really easy to talk about service. I find that's everyone's pretty well in agreement. It's their experience of the Catholic Church, whether they're Catholic or not. That's a church that serves. I see the active service in many ways globally, or in my country, or in my city, in my parish. And in their life, they understand that that's what it means to be Catholic. But this other dimension and opening up witness in life and in word is what's new. That quote really really reveals this is a deeper invitation. Yep. So Michael, maybe under that banner of witness of life and witness of word, can you explain why both are important, why we distinguish those?
And we have sections on both of these in this lesson because it is really important to talk about both elements of witness. We need first to be able to have people see that we practice what we preach. Right. So your witness of life is really important. We don't want to just talk about the gospel, talk about being faithful, talk about the importance of charity in our lives. We need to be actually doing it so that people see it in action. If our lives don't reflect the gospel, it's going to be really hard for other people to want to embrace the gospel because they don't ever see it being lived out. So they need to be able to see it in our lives. So our witness of life is really important, and we want to emphasize that for our participants. The way we live our lives matters, not just for ourselves, but also for others. But at the same time, we need to be able to have the courage to speak about our faith. Sometimes people love to subscribe to the quote that is often attributed to St. Francis of Assisi, where he says, allegedly said, preach the gospel always, and when necessary, use words. The problem in using that quote is that there's no evidence St. Francis ever said anything like that. And even if he had said something along those lines, if we look at the life of St. Francis, he was always preaching. He even preached to the animals. I mean, this guy, if he thought this, he obviously thought it was always necessary to be speaking about his faith. So the quote I prefer to use is one from Pope Paul VI in his letter Evangelii Nuntiandi. And he says, the good news proclaimed by the witness of life sooner or later has to be proclaimed by the word of life. And I think this is really important. We can live great lives, lives of charity, lives of hospitality, compassion, and all those things. But if we don't ever speak about what the reason behind why we are acting this way, we can't assume people are just going to attribute that to Jesus. They're going to attribute that to us being Catholic. They might just think we're a nice person. At some point, we have to proclaim the gospel so that they can understand the reason why our life looks the way it does. And so in the section on witness of word, we really put a strong emphasis here on talking about that each of us have a call to speak about our faith, to be able to share of the love of God that we experience, but also to invite others to experience this love of God.
I think what I hear you revealing too is we're dealing with the common obstacles, like as a leader of our participants. So one obstacle is, well, I don't have to, I don't have to share my faith. That faith is private, or maybe some of these misunderstandings about their faith. And through the quote from the Catechism and the call to witness of word, oh, okay, actually, I am invited to live that out. Then that goes to the next obstacle is, well, I'm afraid, or I don't know how, or I don't want to, or all of those other like scarier motivations, but we're here to equip them. We have tools in here and suggestions to train them in their testimony, and that we would make ourselves present to them as a leader to work through how to help them articulate their story, that their story matters, that the way they've come to encounter the Lord and the areas that he's brought them freedom matters, and that becoming articulate and equipped, they can be then sent, right, to be witnesses. So we're kind of aware in our intentional accompaniment that there are obstacles that we're not surprised by, and that we're going to work through those in order to send them in mission. So there's just a lot of intentionality going on in this lesson.
And we're starting to set the stage as well for our commission faith study, which is the fifth in our series of faith studies, which really dives deeply into the missionary call. And we look at how it really is part of the call of baptism is the call to mission. And so therefore, it's the call of each one of us as Catholics to be a public witness to our faith. We're going to touch on it here a little bit, but we are setting the stage for an even deeper conversation, which is just going to further their growth as a missionary disciple.
Sometimes in the small group too, I don't know if you find this, but there will be some that do respond and do understand and kind of carry the momentum as a participant. Like, yeah, I am excited and I love witnessing in word, and here's how I feel the Holy Spirit working. And that can be a huge strength for us as a leader to let that person share about their experience in witnessing in word, that it's not all driven by us, but we can lean on the participants to lead within the group. So you can expect as a leader too that this isn't totally like leader-student dynamic. There are some of your participants that will be more free and comfortable and excited, and that is a source of strength to kind of like play off of as you're aware that some are really convicted by this challenge, and it is really scary. There'll be, I think, a variety of colors going on in the group.
And this is, again, fellowship in action, right?
Yeah.
That it's not just us teaching them, but it's also them being able to call each other on to greater heights of holiness and mission.
Right.
And that's, again, we want to see that being developed amongst them.
Yeah, make it okay, make it normal. So the next step after this lesson then is the one-on-one follow-up, where we are suggesting, and well, not suggesting, it's a formal opportunity for you as a leader to meet one-on-one with your participants to make a plan to lead a discovery. Why is this so important?
So, you're getting to the end of the content here, lesson 6, you've finished the formal lessons, and it's easy to kind of say, well, I guess I'm kind of done. Yeah. But we want to really emphasize the importance of meeting one-on-one. And if you've been following along with us through Discovery and Source, you've seen that after the end of each study, we always have this one-on-one follow-up time. This is because we really believe in the importance of doing ministry one person at a time, that each person deserves our individual attention, that we want to have individual accompaniment of each person. So this means that if this person's been along with you for all of the studies, you've had at least 3 one-on-one conversations then with this person about their growth in their spiritual life. So it's a really powerful opportunity to be able to speak into their personal experience of the study, but also their personal growth and their personal barriers, just everything that's going on inside them.
More vulnerability in the one-on-one, so more opportunity to kind of like exercise strategies that are personalized for them, because maybe in the broad strokes of leading the study, they were missed. Like maybe they never piped up about something that they had to struggle with, so then the suggestions don't hit the mark. And this is our opportunity to intentionally accompany them through the things they want to grow in their spiritual life or eliminate obstacles in their new mission. Yeah.
And so in this follow-up, and we'll do again another video to be able to guide you through how to do the follow-up. But this one will be about encouraging them to consider starting a Discovery Faith study. And so that flows right out of the challenges that we've put before them here to be engaging in the witness of life and the witness of word. And in the challenges that we put before them at the end of this lesson 6, we talk about each of the elements. So we talk about, maybe you should engage in some sort of Christian service this week, as well as considering if there's a way you can share your faith, such as starting a faith study, and to work on a testimony. And that can be another great opportunity, even independent of the one-on-one follow-up, to be able to sit down with somebody and go through their story and help them develop a clear, concise testimony that they can share in probably about 3 minutes. And there's lots of resources out there. CCO certainly has many resources that we can make available through links for you to be able to be trained in how to be able to do this effectively.
That's right. So that's the end of lesson 6, and make sure to schedule those times with each of your participants before they leave so that you can connect with them one-on-one. And we'll see you again in the follow-up video.